Three Kingdoms. Starting from summoning famous generals. Introduction. Zhou Ning, who was playing with the mortal world, traveled through the late Han Dynasty with the soul-sealed dark iron and became a servant of the Zhen family. Although unwilling to struggle, I cannot live the life of a servant. Fortunately, completing tasks can enhance attributes, complete hidden tasks, and even summon famous generals to follow you. But what about the strategist? Do not summon counselors. In order to survive, Zhou Ning secretly. Chapter 1. Teach Zhen Mi to memorize poetry. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, wait for Brother Yuan to come back to life, otherwise we won't be able to team up. Brother Yuan, come and get the iron quickly. Xiahou Yuan, get 2 stun hammers and be invincible. Zhou Ning looked at the chat barrage played by his teammates and quickly typed back, everyone hide under the tower, resurrect in 3 seconds, wait for me to obtain the soul-sealed dark iron. Speaking late, then fast. The game character he is currently playing is Zhao Yun. Resurrected in the main city. Zhou Ning first went around and stole the divine weapon. Just as his teammate was about to be killed, he activated the Xuanwu axe. After the magic immunity was maximized, he quickly launched a powerful move, unparalleled, and jumped into the field. With a sudden blackout in front of her, Zhou Ning thought to herself, there's a power outage. Why can't I see anything? In the second year of Chu Ping, which is 191 AD. On this day, people riding horses and performing acrobatics appeared outside the courtyard of the Zhen family. Zhen Mi's family and 4 sisters rushed up to the attic to watch. Zhen Mi, who is only 8 years old, won't go. The 4 sisters, seeing their younger sister not coming, are strange and scold her. Zhen Mi said, "Is this what a girl is looking at?" As she spoke, she returned to her own room. Zhou Ning, why don't you go and watch Miss Wu? Zhen Jiang said. A servant, who was very fair-looking, quickly left in response and went to follow the girl. Zhen Mi in the room was reading a book when she saw Zhou Ning come in. Knowing that it was arranged by the elder sister to serve her, she continued to read on her own. Zhou Ning thought to himself, damn it. My family started fighting like a mortal, why did we just cross the border to the end of Han Dynasty? We should still serve as servants. When Zhen Mi changed hands, she saw Zhou Ning's eyes blurred and asked, what are you thinking? Zhou Ning trembled and said, Miss Hui Wu, Miss Home. Zhen Mi said, I remember your family had already died, so I was bought into the Zhen mansion by the elder sister. Zhou Ning thought to himself, your family has just died. Forget it, for the sake of being the god of Luo, I won't argue with you. Zhen Mi saw that Zhou Ning didn't respond, so she changed hands and continued reading. Zhou Ning sighed in his heart. He had traveled through this dilapidated place last night, and years of servility made him no longer need to relearn and bow down. At this moment, his eyes suddenly turned gray and white. Zhou Ning's heart was filled with joy, was it a dream awakening? Can we go home now? Quickly, a massive artifact that Zhou Ning was familiar with, the Soul Seal Black Iron, appeared before his eyes. I saw Zhou Ninggang reaching out to touch, and the artifact exploded out of nowhere. Ding! The Soul Print system is starting. Binding Host. Zhou Ning, Power. 13, Speed. 12, Summon Generals. 0. With the sound of mechanical voice, a set of data instantly appeared in Zhou Ning's mind, but he looked bewildered. Daily Random Task Generation. Teach a young lady of Zhenshi, recite a poem, reward. 1 random attribute. When Zhou Ning realized that everything in front of him had returned to normal, he instinctively swallowed his saliva and, as a small servant, went to teach the young lady how to recite poetry. Afraid of seeking death. I saw Zhen Mi's delicate body tremble. She looked up and saw Zhou Ning, who had been staring at her, saying, "What are you doing looking at me like this?" Zhou Ningdao said, "Little I want to teach Miss Wu how to memorize a poem. Zhen Mi said, haven't you never read a book? What poetry? Zhou Ning saw a play and quickly thought about it. After all, he really doesn't have much inventory. Red beans grow in the southern country, and in spring, they bloom with a few branches. May you harvest them more, for they are the most beloved. Zhou Ning replied. Zhen Mi thought to herself, what country is the southern kingdom? Did the great Han Dynasty have this county? Miss Wu, can you recite it? Zhou Ning asked trembling. He saw no reward and thought everything just now was just a daydream. Zhen Mi thought back and said, red beans grow in the southern kingdom, and spring brings forth a few branches. May you pick more of them, for they are the most cherished. Ding. Daily random tasks completed, random reward. 1 speed. Ding. The soul print system is starting. Binding host. Zhou Ning, power. 13, speed. 13, summon generals. 0. Zhou Ning instinctively waved his hand, feeling that the speed of his hand was indeed a bit faster, but it was only a bit, still appearing clumsy. Zhen Mi asked, this poem is not bad. Do you have any other poems? Miss Hui, there's nothing left today. Miss Wu is really talented, has a good memory, is beautiful, and has a kind heart. Zhou Ning quickly flattered her with various flatteries. Since it's true, of course he won't teach again. What if he teaches reciting poetry again next time? He saw that he couldn't go back for a while now, so he thought of a way to strengthen himself and protect himself. Zhen Mi said, I can't believe you have a good eloquence. Why were you so talkative before when you went to zhaoshuyuan.com? Zhou Ning broke out in a cold sweat and said, Miss, the rules are strict, and petty people dare not speak too much. Zhen Mi said, are you saying I'm not strict? Zhou Ningdao said, I dare not be a petty person. Zhen Mi said, have you read a lot of books? You used to intentionally not say it. Zhou Ningdao said, I have indeed read quite a few. Zhen Mi said, great, I'll go find my elder sister later and bring you over. You want to teach me everything you've learned. Zhou Ning thought to himself, can I teach you how to play games? I can't teach you how to fight, wrestle, soak. Zhen Mi said, are you unwilling? Or are you afraid that big sister won't agree? When she was young, someone else counted her fate and said that her life was precious and she was a blessed person. At this time, people tend to believe that those who tell good fortune telling have a higher status in the family. If fortune telling is not good, then life will be more bumpy. With the preface, Zhen Mi's fate is naturally quite good. The whole family dare not provoke Zhen Mi and let her pamper and grow up. Zhou Ning knelt down and said, Miss Hui Wu, I am willing. He lowered his head and was ashamed to see anyone. It's not that he wants to kneel on his own, it's entirely the subconscious instinct of this body, thinking it's time to kneel. Zhen Mi said, get up. Yes, Miss Xie Wu. Zhou Ning stood up. He began to think about what summonable generals 0 meant. After all, power and speed are easy to understand. But even if 100 is the end, now it seems that there is still a long way to go. As for summonable generals, if you understand them, then you don't have to be a servant. Chapter 2. Summoned Oolong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. Even though his legs and knees were sore and weak, Zhou Ning still stood on the side until the 4 ladies finished watching the acrobatics and came back. He was then kicked out of the room and went back to the kitchen to help cook. That's right, Zhou Ning's main job at the Zhen family is to become a cook. In modern terms, cut and match. As a traveler, Zhou Ning naturally wants to break free from his lowly status by relying on his own talents. He worked step by step for a whole day, and in the evening, he squeezed 6 servants into a small room to rest. That night, Zhou Ning finally understood that in the Zhen family, the real thigh is Miss Wu, Zhen Mi. young, soft-eared, easy to talk. After all, if random tasks are often related to Miss Zhen, how would the other four help themselves? It's not bad if I didn't fork it out for sale. Early the next morning, after a meal, he continued to wander around the mansion as usual, waiting for new arrangements. Although cutting and matching is his daily job, it does not mean that he can rest freely after finishing his meal. You should know that servants are all sold out and need to be called as they please. If they accidentally commit a crime, they can be sold or executed with a cane, which is perfectly normal. Zhou Ning basked in the sun for a while, enjoying a moment of peace. Daily random task generation. Send a love poem to a young lady of Zhen's, reward. 1 random attribute. Zhou Ning couldn't help but jump and send a love poem to the young lady. This system is trying to cause trouble, thinking that she can't die. In no time, seeing Zhenjiang arrive here, Zhou Ning was hesitating whether to give her a song. Zhenjiang looked at Zhou Ning, who was sunbathing, and said angrily, "Are you slacking off here? If you have nothing to do, you can go to serve in Sister Wu's room. I'm not even aware of it, and I don't know what Sister Wu really likes about you." Zhou Ningdao said, "Miss, please forgive me. I'll go now," he said, and ran away, decisively giving up sending Zhenjiang's love poem. Quickly, he arrived outside Zhen Mi's house and whispered, "Miss Wu, can I enter?" "Come in." Zhen Mi's voice rang out from inside the room. After receiving his order, Zhou Ning stepped forward and quietly closed the door. "After all, I want to send love poems to Zhen Mi, and if I am heard, my life will be in danger." Zhen Mi said displeased, "Why close the door? Go and open it." Zhou Ning knelt down and said, "I had a feeling last night. I created a love poem and wanted to give it to Miss Five. But I was afraid that the 4 young ladies would hear it and take my life, so I closed the door." Zhen Mi was very interested and said, "You read me and listen." Zhou Ning racked her brain and remembered a song she had learned when she was a child. She recited with deep emotion, "It's difficult to say goodbye when we meet. The east wind is powerless, and 100 flowers are left behind. The silk of the spring silkworms is dying, and the wax torch turns into ashes before tears dry up. At dawn, the clouds and temples change, and at night, she sings to feel the cold moonlight. There is no way to go from here to Pingshan, and the green bird is eager to explore." Zhen Mi smiled and asked, "So you know so many words, but where is Pingshan from? What kind of bird is Qingniao?" Zhou Ning said honestly, "Little person. I don't know." Zhen Mi said, "Although I don't quite understand your poetry, your sentences are neat and sound very good. Get up." Zhou Ningdao said, "Miss Xie Wu." He quickly got up and rubbed his knees. Ding. Daily random tasks completed, random reward. 1 point of strength. Ding. The soul print system is starting. Binding host. Zhou Ning, power. 14, speed. 13, summon generals. 0. Zhou Ning realized that his strength value was higher and couldn't help but be overjoyed. He knew that most of the generals in the late Han Dynasty liked to work hard. Which famous general's weapon weighs only a few tens of pounds? Just talk about the well-known Lingling generals Xing Darong, Wushuang generals Pen Feng, and so on, each of whom is a person of infinite strength. Although my skills are not good, as long as I have enough strength, I can still become a county general. Zhou Ning looked at Zhen Mi, who was reading seriously, hesitated for a moment and said, "Miss Wu, it's useless for you to read books so hard." Zhen Mi replied, "In ancient times, virtuous women had to learn from the experiences of their predecessors' successes and failures to warn themselves. If they didn't study, what would they use to learn from them?" Zhou Ningdao said, "Miss Wu is extremely intelligent, but in this chaotic world, self-protection is the most difficult thing." Zhen Mi put down the book she borrowed from her brother and said, "You seem to understand a lot." Zhou Ningdao said, "Miss Wu, I have a unique skill that I want to exchange for freedom." Zhen Mi said, do you want to switch to freedom? As you just said, self-protection is the most difficult thing. Staying in the Zhen family will at least prevent you from starving to death. Besides, I don't have much interest in stunts or anything like that. Zhou Ning said, I know how to purify refined salt and would like to dedicate it to Miss Wu. I only hope that in the future, I will no longer be a servant, but a follower of Miss Wu and can serve her every day. Zhen Mi said strangely, the business at home is managed by my elder sister. Why do you come to me to negotiate terms? Zhou Ning boasted, Miss Wu is beautiful, kind-hearted, talented, and naturally kind-hearted. Zhen Mi said, alright, what kind of skill are you? I will tell the elder sister in my own name. You don't need to go to the kitchen to cut vegetables anymore. I have already brought you over from the elder sister. Just serve me every day. Zhou Ning thought to himself, does the little girl take credit for me? Although he thought so, he still expressed his gratitude on the surface. But he didn't know that Zhen Mi's decision happened to protect him, because a person without status would not believe anything they said. If Zhen Mi didn't say it was her own idea, even if Zhou Ning provided excellent technology, she wouldn't have been able to try it. Quickly, Zhou Ning shared all his purification ideas, and Zhen Mi was greatly shocked upon hearing this. It was a servant's idea. She stood up and said, you just wait in the room. I'll go find big sister. If I can really purify you, you'll be my attendant servant from now on. She said and left the room. Zhou Ning's mouth twitched slightly, accompanying a servant. Book boys all sound better than this, even though they are still servants. He waited for a long time without seeing Zhen Mi come back, but he didn't dare to leave. I can only stand foolishly in the room, smelling the faint fragrance left by the girl and thinking about my thoughts. Ding. Daily hidden task trigger. Retrieve the credit of the essence salt purification method, reward. 1 random attribute. Zhou Ning thought to himself, is this a success? Otherwise, why should I take back the credit? But after thinking for a moment, he gave up on this hidden task directly. He wouldn't offend such a good young lady like Zhen Mi just for the sake of only 1 attribute. At noon. Zhen Mi has returned, accompanied by 5 servants holding a lot of food. After you go in and put it down, you can go back. Don't disturb me here. Zhen Mi instructed. The 5 servants responded by saying yes, and after putting down their food, they all left in a daze. Zhou Ning saw Zhen Mi circling around her and couldn't help but ask, Miss, you look at me like this, but I did something wrong. Zhen Mi shook her head and said, you didn't do anything wrong, you did something big. Big sister has tried your method and she is very happy. She asked me what I wanted and even said anything would be fine. I said I would tell her after I thought it out and come back first. So, what do you want? Zhou Ning naturally wanted to go home the most, followed by freedom, just when he hesitated how to speak. Ding. Daily hidden task upgrade. Embrace and kiss a Miss Zhen for 5 seconds, reward. Number of summoned generals +1. Zhou Ning, whose body trembled as I gave up the hidden mission. What do you mean by upgrading the mission to me? What's going on? I'm asking you a question. Zhen Mi said displeased. Looking at the entire Zhen family, who dares to make her repeat the questioning? Zhou Ning took a deep breath. If it were this reward, it would be worth taking a risk. Because this reward is related to whether one can become a person above others. Little person. Little person wants Miss Wu to close her eyes and find Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. No matter what happens, she won't be angry with little person. Zhou Ning trembled in her voice. Upon hearing this strange reward, Zhen Mi immediately closed her eyes and asked, is that so? Zhou Ning said, Miss Wu, you promised not to get angry. He hugged the 8-year-old Zhen Mi directly, his hot lips imprinted firmly on her cheeks. Zhen Mi instantly opened her eyes and realized that it was Zhou Ning holding her and kissing her cheek, and she was stunned. 5 seconds in an instant. Ding. The hidden task has been completed today. Reward. Number of summoned generals +1, ding. The soul print system is starting. Binding host. Zhou Ning, power. 14, speed. 13, summoned generals. 1. As soon as the reward arrived, Zhou Ning quickly released her hands and took a few steps back. Zhen Mi's pretty face turned red and she said angrily, "You're so brave, you dare to kiss my face." Zhou Ning was momentarily hesitant. Didn't the little beauty mean what she said? "Hurry up, someone!" Zhen Mi shouted. Seeing Zhen Mi summoning someone and the sound of footsteps already coming from outside, Zhou Ning dared not hesitate. Heart said, "Summon Zhao Yun." "I summon Zhao Yun." "There's no movement at all." Zhou Ning was dumbfounded, dying. Did she guess wrong? At this moment, you're joking with yourself. Upon hearing that many officials had gathered outside the house and were about to break through the door at any moment, Zhou Ning looked up and shouted loudly, "Where is Zhao Yun?" With this loud shout, a man 8 feet long, with thick eyebrows and big eyes, a broad face and a heavy heart, wielding a long spear, and a majestic and imposing figure, along with a snow-white horse, instantly appeared in Zhen Mi's room. Chapter 3. The Lord must develop. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. Zhen Mi was only momentarily angry, and as soon as she finished shouting, she regretted it in her heart. After all, being a grandiose young lady and being treated lightly by servants is not a good thing to spread. It's a disgrace to the Zhen family. "Miss Wu, can we enter?" a government official loudly asked outside the house. Zhen Mi looked at the man and horse who suddenly appeared in the room, feeling the chill on the long spear, and said, "No, it's okay, let's all go down." "Yes," the prefect responded loudly. Quickly, everyone dispersed from outside Zhen Mi's room again. Zhao Yun saw that the enemy had dispersed and looked at Zhou Ning. He held a gun and knelt down on one knee, saying, "Changshan Zhao Zilong, see you, Lord. General. Zhao Yun, power. 99, speed. 100, spear. 100 birds facing the phoenix, 7 snakes exploring the plate." Zhou Ning looked at Zhao Yun's panel in front of him and exclaimed excitedly, "Brother Yun is offering a complimentary gift." Seeing Zhao Yun not responding, he said again, "Zilong, please rise up." Zhao Yundao said, "No." He stood up all at once, instantly making Zhou Ning and Zhen Mi look up at him again. Zhou Ning stepped forward to touch Zhao Yun's body and found that the touch was incredibly real, without any tingling electrical sensation. Zhen Mi asked, "Who are you? How could you be in my room? Take your horse out first." Zhao Yun only glanced at her, withdrew his gaze, and said, "Yun only listens to the Lord's orders." Zhou Ning smiled and said, "Zilong, miss, why don't you use your own name?" Zhao Yundao said, "I am Zhao Zilong from Changshan." Zhen Mi said, "I'm asking why you're in my room." Zhao Yun didn't even look at Zhen Mi this time, but caressed his shining night jade lion. His mount has a pure white appearance like snow, with no stray hair all over his body. It grows 1 zhang from head to tail, with hooves to the spine and a height of 8 feet. It can travel thousands of miles a day. Zhou Ningdao said, "Zilong, answer Mississippi." Zhao Yundao said, sensing the Lord's call. Zhen Mi said, "You go out first." Zhao Yun looked at Zhou Ning, obviously waiting for his command. Zhou Ning said, "Zilong, guard outside." Zhao Yun arched his hand and said, "I will take orders." Watching Zhao Yun lead his horse away, Zhen Mi looked at Zhou Ning's bright eyes with curiosity and asked, "What other skills do you have?" Zhou Ning, now protected by Zhao Yun, had more courage and coughed, "Miss, why don't you guess?" Zhen Mi's beautiful eyes widened and she said, just now. Don't say anything. Zhou Ning nodded and said, I understand. Zhen Mi watched a great scene of transforming into a living person and a horse today, completely losing interest in reading and constantly asking Zhou Ning's secret. Zhou Ningdao said, Miss is still young, and I can't understand many things even when I say them. Excuse me, miss, are these foods all for little people? Zhen Mi said, I've given it all to you, eat it. Zilong, come in and eat together, Zhou Ning said. Zhao Yun responded and entered. At this moment, he no longer had a long spear in his hand, but he had an extra sword on his waist, with the words Qinghong embedded in gold on the target of the sword. Zilong, come and eat more. Zhou Ning called out. Zhao Yundao said, thank you, Lord. He said and sat down on the ground, eating. Zhou Ningdao said, Miss Wu, from now on, I will work with Zilong to protect you. Zhen Mi said, I have the protection of the government officials. Zhou Ningdao said, that's different. Mrs. Mansion servants are neither attractive nor useful. Zhen Mi looked at Zhao Yun and said, you really look impressive. Zhou Ningdao said, what's more than just looking at me? People only know that Lu Bu is famous throughout the world, but they don't know that Zhao Zilong's bravery far surpasses that of his fellow countryman Lu Bu. Zhen Mi said, I've heard my sisters talk about LV Bu, but it seems like he's said to be the best general in the world outside. Zhou Ning patted Zhao Yun's shoulder and said, not bad, he fought alone and never lost. But my general Zilong has surpassed him without fail. Zhen Mi said, let him protect me. What do you want? Zhou Ningdao said, Miss, please give me and Zilong a separate room and ensure our daily food needs, including the horse. Without hesitation, Zhen Mi said, sure. Nowadays, Zhou Ning is full of curiosity. As long as Zhou Ning doesn't want to leave, she won't refuse. Zhou Ning said happily, thank you very much, Miss 5. Zhen Mi said, then you guys eat first, I'll go and come. In the afternoon, Zhen Mi gave all the servants in her courtyard to her 4 sisters, intending to free up their rooms to accommodate Zhou Ning and the 2 of them, as well as the white horse who refused to go to the stable. The 4 sisters, upon learning that of course they did not agree, but when they saw Zhao Yun, they all looked shy and thought to themselves, where did Wu find this? A handsome guard. I saw Zhao Yun holding a long spear at this moment, standing majestically outside Zhen Mi's room. His height and physique were superior to those of the guards in the mansion today. 5 younger sisters, who is he? Zhen Tuo said. Zhen Mi said, second sister, his name is Zhao Zilong. According to Zhou Ning, he has the courage of 10,000 men. Zhou Ning. The servant in big sister's room. Zhen Rong said. Zhen Mi said, fourth sister, now he belongs to my room. The 4 sisters of the mansion servants in my courtyard can handle it as they please. I just need Zhao Yun's protection. The 4 women all spoke up one after another, wanting to ask Zhen Mi for Zhao Yun, but only Zhen Mi knew that Zhao Yun only listened to Zhou Ning. Seeing her sisters chattering and Zhou Ning winking at her, Zhen Mi anxiously said, no, if you say no, then you can't. I'm going to tell my mother. With the departure of the 5 daughters of the Zhen family, Zhen Mi's courtyard was finally quiet as usual. Master, do we really want to stay here? Zhao Yun said. Zhou Ningdao said, what's Yun Ji's good suggestion? Zhao Yundao said, are you calling the last general, my lord? Zhou Ningdao said, nature, look for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. We all like to call you that way because you're amazing. Zhao Yundao said, the last general dare not be called the lord like this. The lord can call the last general Zilong. Zhou Ningdao said, Zilong, I don't want to take you wandering around like Liu Bei. Besides, he's taking you too, and I'm just you now. I'm just a war scumbag who's not even as good as Liu Bei. Do you understand? Zhao Yundao said, I don't understand. Zhou Ning said, let's just follow the Lord and make sure he is invincible. I heard that Yuan Shao is still just a Bohai prefect, and there will be plenty of time in the future. Zhao Yun suddenly said, Lord, actually you won't need to eat anything at all. Zhou Ning was taken aback and said, then you eat so much for lunch. Zhao Yundao said, it was the Lord who ordered the last general to eat. Zhou Ning thought of something and quickly said, Do you need to sleep? Does the jade lion at Zhaoye also not need to feed grass? Zhao Yun said, Yun doesn't need to sleep, and even the night shining jade doesn't need to be fed with grass. Zhou Ning was stunned. The famous general he summoned was a monster, a famous general during the Pai Gu period. In a room, the mother of the 5 daughters of the Zhen family made a firm decision. Zhao Yun returned to her youngest daughter Zhen Mi, and the rest were not allowed to argue. After seeing the 4 sisters leave with a faint sigh, Zhen Mi also breathed a sigh of relief and thought to herself, it's not that I'm stingy, but he doesn't listen to me. This night, Zhou Ning slept exceptionally sweetly, because Zhao Yun was guarding him step by step, and there was the white horse that could shine like a pearl at night. Zhou Ning woke up early in the morning and saw that Zhao Yun's attributes remained unchanged and his mental state was full. Knowing that he had not lied, he was excited for a long time. Zhao Yun, are you awake? Chapter 4. The Child Dragon Carrying the Pot. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. Zhao Yun couldn't tell who was looking for him, but when Zhou Ning heard this wonderful sound, she instinctively trembled. Isn't this the voice of the young lady? Zhou Ningdao said, Zilong, respond. Zhao Yunlang said in a voice, what's up? I've brought you some food, you like it or not? Xinjiang whispered softly. Zhao Yundao said, Master. I'll go drive her away. He said and tightened his long spear in his hand. Of course not, put down your weapon, go out and say thank you to the young lady, and then bring back the food. Zhou Ning hurriedly said. Zhao Yundao said, I will comply. He leaned his gentian silver spear against the wall and opened the door, saying, Thank you, Mississippi. He picked up the dishes with both hands and returned to the room. Xinjiang blushed and said, You're welcome. He followed indirectly. But when she saw Zhou Ning also in the room, she couldn't help but frown and angrily said, When is it all? Why don't you go to Wu Mei's room to serve her? Zhou Ning thought to himself, isn't it treated too differently? If I had known I was the first to summon Jianwei, I would have scared you to death. Xinjiang rebuked, why don't you go quickly? Daily random task generation. Kiss Xinjiang's lips for 3 seconds, reward. 1 random attribute. Zhou Ning secretly screamed to death, feeling that the difficulty of the task was getting higher and higher. She was afraid that she would marry Miss Shen tomorrow, but she was just a servant. He is ready to run away tonight. Seeing the young lady about to shout, Zhou Ning hurriedly said, Miss, Zilong doesn't like fierce women. He likes those who are gentle like water. Xinjiang was slightly stunned, as if feeling too aggressive. She asked softly, have you ever eaten anything? If you haven't eaten anything, you can eat it with Zilong. If it's not enough, I'll have someone make it. Zhou Ning saw the attitude of the young lady and came up with a plan. He said, thank you very much, young lady. Zilong even chatted with the villain last night and said he wanted to play a game with the young lady. He looked at Zhao Yun and gestured for him to nod and cooperate. Zhao Yun understood and said, Yun indeed has this intention. Xinjiang smiled and said, what does Zilong want to play with me? Zhou Ningdao said, we need to cover Miss Da's eyes with a cloth. Would Miss Da be willing or not? Xinjiang looked at Zhao Yun's handsome face for a moment, then nodded and closed his eyes, saying, Meng, I'm really free today. Can you play with Zilong? She thought it was her sister's trick of catching people with their eyes covered. Zhou Ning hurriedly ran around and found a black cloth to cover Xinjiang's eyes. After a long time, Xinjiang felt a slight touch in her eyes. Even when she opened her eyes, she couldn't see anything anymore. Zhao Yun walked forward and said, "Lord." Before his official words could be spoken, Zhou Ning reached out and covered his mouth. Zhou Ning gestured for him to turn around, and Zhao Yun arched his hand before turning around. I saw Zhou Ning take a deep breath, embrace Xinjiang with open arms, and kiss her cherry lips with a kiss. Xinjiang was horrified and wanted to wait for her mouth to open, but when she thought of Zhao Yun, who was belittling her, her heart was shaken. Fear gradually dissipated, and her desire grew dark. She thought to herself that Zhao Yun wanted to get closer to her. Under Zhou Ning's kiss, her heart and soul were intoxicated, and she reached out to embrace his head and neck, completely unaware of why Zhao Yun was 1 foot shorter. Zhao Yi, the Jade Lion, watched this scene from the side and quickly ran to Zhao Yun's side to arch him with his head, as if saying, "Master, don't you just take a look at this pot and carry it." Ding! Daily random tasks completed, random reward. 1 point of strength. Ding! The soul print system is starting. Binding host. Zhou Ning, power. 15, speed. 13, summon generals. 0. Upon completing the task, Zhou Ning blushed and immediately released Xinjiang with both hands. However, Xinjiang now tightly hugged his head and neck, making it difficult for him to break free for a while, yet he dared not speak. Easy to leak filling. Xinjiang saw that Zhao Yun was unwilling to kiss him anymore. Just as he was about to speak, he felt that his hands were becoming more and more irregular. He was eager to undress and untie himself, and couldn't help but be surprised and shy. He released his hands that hugged his neck and stepped back, saying, "Not now." When Zhou Ning was clearing the black cloth with Xinjiang, he quickly stepped back to show that Zhao Yun could turn around. As soon as Zhao Yun turned around, he saw Xinjiang holding a black cloth, looking at him with a flushed face. He didn't understand the meaning and looked innocent. Xinjiang thought that Zhao Yun was so indifferent because he didn't succeed, and said, "Big man, born between heaven and earth, shouldn't just be willing to be a guardian. If naturally, it will be as you wish," she said with unprecedented shyness and ran away. Zhou Ning licked his lips and said, "Fragrant. Sweet." He looked at the roasted chicken and fine wine next to him and poured and drank them himself. Zhao Yundao said, "Lord, what does Miss mean by this statement?" Zhou Ningdao said, "Let's not guess the thoughts of women. Today, my lord is happy, let's drink together." Zhao Yundao said, "I will comply." The two of them were full of alcohol and food early in the morning and went to serve in Zhen Mi's room. One still consciously stood outside the door, while the other stood foolishly inside the house. After waiting for a while, Zhen Mi didn't see Zhou Ning speak and said, "Don't you have any poetry for me today?" Zhou Ning nodded and said, "Not today." Zhen Mi said, "You go out for me, I don't want to see you." Zhou Ningdao said, "Yes, the villain will guard outside with Oolong." Quickly, he arrived outside and thought to himself, "Why didn't you trigger the hidden task today? If you don't give it to the famous general, why don't you add some attribute points? It's just that, don't force it." Oolong. Zhou Ning said. Zhao Yundao said, "The end will come." Zhou Ningdao said, "Teach me your marksmanship." Zhao Yun took the initiative to hand his gentian bright silver spear to Zhou Ning and said, "Master, do you want to learn the 100 birds facing the phoenix spear technique, or is it the 7 detective snake plate spear technique created by the last general?" Zhou Ning said, "Which one is stronger?" Zhao Yundao said, "The 100 birds facing the phoenix spear is a type of marksmanship created by his mentor Tong Yuan, which is extremely exquisite." After learning the 100 birds facing the phoenix spear, the last general, with years of cold and summer experience, created the 7 snake plate spear. However, it remains to be seen whether he is superior to the blue in his youth and surpasses the blue in his skills. Zhou Ningdao said, "There's plenty of time right now and I want to learn. Anyway, I have to practice as much as you do, that's impossible. You can easily kill small soldiers if you practice. Zhao Yundao said, then please have a look at the gun, and find the book garden www.zhaozuiyuan.com. This is where 100 birds face the phoenix. I saw him slowly swipe his gentian silver spear on the ground, with a piercing sound coming from behind. He walked all the way to the center of the courtyard and immediately unleashed the 100 birds facing the phoenix spear. The entire action was incredibly agile and powerful. Zhen Tuo, Zhen Dao, and other women also came to see Zhao Yun early in the morning. Coincidentally, they saw the scene of Zhao Yun dancing with a gun, and their small hearts were beating wildly. Soon, the news of Zhao Yun dancing with a gun in Zhen Mi's courtyard reached Zhen Jiang's ears, and she also rushed over quickly. Zhen Mi listened to the whistling outside the house, although she didn't want to pay attention, she still walked out of the door. It's too noisy. As Zhao Yun danced, the cold stars nodded and the silver light glistened. He shouted loudly, "Look!" Phoenix nodded 3 times. I saw him wielding a bright shot of gentian, shaking a firecracker in front of him, and then firing 3 shots in a row, aiming at the imaginary enemy's forehead, throat and chest in front of him. Look again, heaven and earth throw. Zhao Yun stomped the ground with 1 foot and let out a loud shout, throwing his long spear like a siege hammer, fiercely piercing a several-inch thick wall. Shoo! With the sound of breaking through the air, the long spear penetrated the wall more than 3 inches straight. If on the battlefield, this shot can directly pierce a hole in the enemy's chest. This is the desperate move of the 100 birds Chaos Phoenix Spear, with 1 throw from heaven and earth. This move is necessary to save the enemy, as if it were a thunderbolt. If there is no absolute reaction and sufficient strength, the victim will die. Okay, Oolong is really a hero. Zhou Ning applauded. Zhao Yun stepped forward with great luck and pulled out his gun. As he forcefully pulled out his long dan bright silver spear, the earthen wall collapsed with a loud bang. Zhao Yun, destroy one side of the earthen wall and come to my room. I will calculate this amount for you. Chapter 5. Open your eyes and play with you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. Zhao Yun didn't pay any attention to Xinjiang, but walked up to Zhou Ning and said, "Did you see it clearly, Lord?" Zhou Ningdao said, "The eyes have learned, but the brain has not yet." Zhao Zilong, I asked you to come over, did you hear me? Xinjiang said. Zhen Mi said, Zhou Ning, let him go quickly. Big sister is going to cry. Zhou Ningdao said, Zilong, you go there. Zhao Yundao said, I will take orders. He left the long dan bright silver spear and the Zhaoya jade lion here, picked up the Qinghong sword from the horse, and walked towards Xinjiang. Xinjiang saw that there were many people in this place and couldn't say much, so he directly took Zhao Yun to his own room. Zhou Ning rubbed his nose and said to himself, Zilong, don't even say that the Lord didn't take care of you. If you like this young lady, just do as you please. The Zhen family is a big family, and the Lord needs the support of food. You can only betray yourself. Ding. Daily hidden task trigger. Rescue Zhao Yun, use your own body to replace sin, reward. 1 random attribute. Zhou Ning sneered, jokingly, with only a slight attribute, is it worth risking oneself? Xinjiang may not be willing to harm Zhao Yun, and she still can't fight, but that doesn't mean she's not willing to harm herself. He stepped forward and grabbed Zhao Yun's bright silver spear, but as soon as he picked it up, his hands sank, weighing at least 40 pounds. Zhou Ning thought to himself, damn it, it takes a lot of effort to hold it. How could he dance so gracefully, like an ordinary stick? Is it very heavy? Zhen Mi asked. Zhou Ning said, it's heavier than a bucket of water, this strength. He felt that his current strength could only be barely lifted, not to mention dancing, lifting for a while would be tiring. Sisters have all gone, won't you go and take a look? Zhen Mi said. Zhou Ningdao said, if you don't go, Zhao Zilong, the majestic Changshan, is fearless among men and can still fall among women. Besides, I am just a servant, and I cannot guarantee myself. Zhen Mi said, it's been so long today, have you come up with a poem? Zhou Ning said, when it's time to come up with something, you'll come up with it. If Miss insists on it, okay, give this song to Mississippi. 1 piece, 2 pieces, 3 or 4 pieces, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 90 pieces. 1,000 pieces, 1,000 pieces, countless pieces, even if you fly into the plum blossom, you won't see them. Zhen Mi said, what are you talking about? Are you talking nonsense? Zhou Ning said, Miss Wu, don't you think that reading it makes one feel like being in the midst of a vast expanse of snow? But seeing a cut of cold plum standing proudly in the snow, fighting against the cold and spitting out its beauty, not only does the snowflake blend into the plum blossom, but even people blend into this snowflake and plum blossom. Zhen Mi said, I don't think so. Zhou Ning said, Miss Wu, at your age, don't think too much. Just be happy. Zhen Mi said, are you happy? But my Zhen family. She said and went straight back to the room, obviously not wanting to mention it too much. Zhou Ning followed up and said, Miss Wu, can you get me a gun? A few pounds will do. In Zhenjiang's room. Zilong, I wonder if you would like to join my Zhen family. Zhenjiang asked softly. Zhao Yundao said, Yun runs around and chooses his master. Now that I have followed my lord, it is a great consolation for my life. Even if I have to endure hardships, I am willing. Zhenjiang blushed and said, who wants to be your lord? I mean, are you good enough to be my husband? Zhao Yundao said, Lord Yun is the envoy of Zhou, not the young lady. Zhenjiang exclaimed in surprise, Zhou Ning. Zhao Yun nodded and said, if Miss is fine, Yun will go back to protect the Lord. He said and left, leaving Zhenjiang alone in chaos. Zhenjiang secretly shed tears in the room. Now that the Zhen family is full, his elder brother Zhenyu has died early. Although his second brother Zhen Yan was young and promoted to the rank of filial piety and honesty, he was appointed as a general and a rafter, but he only served as the commander of Chu Liang. As for the third brother Zhenyao, although he held the position of filial piety and integrity, he still has no official or semi-official position and is idle at home. Zhenjiang was well aware that although his family was one of the few big families in Hebei, with a wealthy background, the male population was thin, and his 2 older brothers were weak and sickly, unable to learn martial arts. Although relying solely on the family's hereditary salary of 2,000 stones from Han Taibao Zhenhan, one can have a lifetime of worry-free. But all of this is just a moon in the water, a flower in the mirror. Nowadays, all the business at home is under her control, and she knows that women are not easy. Miss, may I come in? Zhou Ning asked outside the room. No way. Zhenjiang said. Zhou Ning didn't invite himself in, followed by Zhao Yun. Someone, cross out Zhou Ning for me. Zhenjiang shouted. Zhou Ningdao said, Zilong, protect the door. Anyone who enters without permission will die. I will take orders. Zhao Yun said. He picked up his gun and left, guarding the door. Zhenjiang said, what are you doing? Don't forget, you're just a servant. Zhou Ningdao said, Miss, don't worry. I don't know what to do, and I know I'm a servant. But can I not be a servant? Isn't it just a matter of Mrs. words? In fact, I'm also hesitant, but for the sake of everyone's good, I'm willing to help Zilong invade the Zhen family. He thought to himself, it's not that he wants to come. Who wouldn't want his woman to be gentle like water, like Zhen Mi? Well, although Zhen Mi is not too gentle now, the hidden task has arrived, and the reward is something he cannot refuse. Now that he has tasted the sweetness, as long as he doesn't die, how can he give up the opportunity to summon a famous general +1? Zhen Jiangchen said, you're so beautiful. Get out. Zhou Ningdao said, the villain will take leave first, and the young lady will consider it later. But the villain is only willing to sacrifice himself to feed a tiger today. Even if the villain is killed tomorrow, he will not marry the young lady. Friendly reminder, getting a villain is equivalent to getting a Oolong. Besides, the villain's refined salt purification technology and morning kisses should be well understood by the young lady at Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. After he finished speaking, he ran away and even brought Zhao Yun, who was guarding the door. Ah! Soon, the girl's screams rang out in the room. Xinjiang now understands everything, let alone the purification technology, but it's not Zhao Yun who is so close to him this morning, but this servant who has been with him for 3 years. 6 officials came to her room upon hearing the sound, and when they saw the young lady hysterical, they dared not step forward one by one. Go, bring Zhou Ning back to me. Xinjiang angrily said. The 6 officials of the mansion repeatedly said that they quickly arrived at Zhen Mi's place and wanted to forcibly take Zhou Ning away. But as Zhao Yun shot one person through the chest, one person was instantly killed, and the other 5 people were scared away. Upon learning that Zhao Yun had killed someone directly, Xinjiang personally came to Zhen Mi's place. She looked at Zhao Yun, who was holding a gun and wiping blood in the courtyard, and said, "Where are people from Zhou Ning?" Zhao Yundao said, "The Lord is inside the house, serving the 5th Mississippi. 5th sister, let him get out of here." Xinjiang said. Zhen Mi said, "That's not possible. Even if the younger sister agrees, Zhao Yun won't agree. If the older sister wants to say something to him, you can come in and say it." Xinjiang took a deep breath, calmed her mood, and walked directly into Zhen Mi's room. Zhao Yun did not stop her. "The Lord has given orders. If the young lady wants to come in, it's okay. The mansion official wants to catch her and kill her directly." As soon as Xinjiang arrived in the room, she saw Zhou Ning hiding behind petite Zhen Mi and said, "What are you hiding from? Aren't you very brave this morning? Come on, continue playing games. This time, I'll open my eyes and play with you." Sister and sister, calm down, little people. Little people are all for the sake of strength, to protect themselves and everyone's strength. Do you believe what little people say? Chapter 6. Huang Hansheng see you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, Xinjiang laughed back angrily and said, "Okay, how come I can't tell you're so eloquent? You haven't been able to say a few words for the past 3 years. It seems you're dissatisfied and speechless with me." Zhou Ning stood up from behind Zhen Mi, 2 heads taller than her. He said, "If it's not someone who insists on climbing high, miss, if you don't want to, just be someone who doesn't say anything." Xinjiang said, "Wu Mei, is that technique really something he came up with?" Zhen Mi said, "What technology?" Xinjiang said, "Yesterday you came to find me and tried the purification technology." Zhen Mi said, "Yes." Xinjiang said, "5th sister, go out for a while. Borrow your room from big sister and close the door." Zhen Mi gave Zhou Ning a self-seeking look, walked away, and closed the door after leaving. Zhou Ning watched as only himself and Jiang Zhen approached him step by step in the room, unable to help but retreat again and again. "What are you afraid of? Come and play games," Xinjiang said with a smirk. Zhou Ning said, "If you come over again, I won't be polite." Xinjiang said, "Do you know the situation of our Zhen family? Do you know how happy I was when I saw Zhao Yun? Do you know how angry I am now?" She said, already crying. Zhou Ning anxiously said, "My mother, why are you crying? Stop crying, I'll let Oolong marry you." Xinjiang sobbed and said, "He is obedient to you. What's the use of having a husband who only listens to others' orders?" Zhou Ning said, "Don't cry. With me around, I guarantee that Zhen will not have any problems." Xinjiang pressed hard step by step and said, "What guarantee do you have?" Do you have the status of a servant? Since you have such skills, why have you been willing to be a servant for 3 years? Zhou Ning was forced to the corner of the wall and said, Miss, if you believe in villains, bah, even those who claim to be villains are used to it. If you trust me, I will protect the Zhen family. To be honest, I am not just Oolong, but each of them has the courage to fight against others. They are all talented generals in a state, but if you want to see them, you must cooperate with me. Zhenjiang stopped and said, How do you want me to cooperate? Zhou Ningdao said, Greet me as Duke of Zhou. Zhen Jiangmei's eyes were shy, her face flushed, and she said, You. Zhou Ningdao said, My abilities are unknown to women who are not me. Zhen Jiang said, Do you still have many generals like Zhao Zilong? Zhou Ningdao said, Not bad. As long as the big and small sisters are willing to devote themselves to me today, I can summon another person to appear and meet you. Zhen Jiang said, Marriage takes time. Since ancient times, the emperor takes 1 year, the feudal lords take 6 months, the officials take 1 season, and the commoners take 1 month. I can marry you, but you must follow the rules. Zhou Ning frowned. Although he was considered a commoner, would he have to wait for a month? What's wrong? Are you very anxious? Zhen Jiang said angrily when he saw his dissatisfaction. She remembered Zhou Ning's impatience to loosen her dress belt this morning, and now looking back, her face still burns. Zhou Ning shook her head and said, I can't wait. The gift can be made up later. If Mr. refuses to let me fulfill my wish today, I will leave tonight with Oolong. He found that daily tasks were becoming increasingly difficult, and if he didn't leave, he wouldn't be sure what he had to do tomorrow. Zhenjiang said, You. Her tears began to swirl in her eyes again. She knew very well that with Zhao Yun's bravery, the household servants could never stop him from taking Zhou Ning away. Zhou Ning took 2 steps forward and grabbed her hand, saying, I know this is impolite to miss, but time waits for no one. Only today can I dominate the world like a fish in water. Zhenjiang's heart softened as he listened to Zhou Ning's ambitious aspirations. In fact, although Zhou Ning was not as handsome as Zhao Yun, he was also very pure and could be called a handsome man. If it weren't for that, Zhenjiang wouldn't have kept him by his side for 3 years. But what she doesn't like is Zhou Ning's cowardly and unremarkable appearance. Which girl doesn't embrace spring? What we are looking for is nothing more than a hero who can add fragrance to our red sleeves. Zhou Ning tightly wrapped her arms around Zhenjiang and said, Miss, you can do whatever you want with Li. I will cooperate to make it up, but I really can't wait. I want you now. Zhenjiang made a slight effort and realized that he was tightly holding her in his arms. She was both shy and anxious, and exclaimed in surprise, Go away. What are you doing? Zhou Ning's emotions were just beginning to bloom, and upon smelling her struggle, waves of fragrance from her virgin body made her heart uncontrollably beat. I only feel that although Zhenjiang in front of me cannot be called a national beauty, she is also quite beautiful, with fair and smooth skin. After all, she is a wealthy young lady. Let go of me, sobbed Zhenjiang said. Zhen Mi, who had been waiting outside the room for a long time, said, Sister, what's wrong with you? Have a good chat and don't take any action. She can no longer hear the commotion of the argument, she can only hear the incessant applause. Sister, can I go in now? Zhen Mi asked. Don't come in, don't come in. Zhenjiang blushed in the room and said shyly. Zhou Ning saw that there was no system reward, and as she watched Zhenjiang's expression as he wanted to bite her, she continued to bow respectfully. Half an hour later. Ding. The hidden task has been completed today. Reward. Number of summoned generals +1, ding. The soul print system is starting. Binding host. Zhou Ning, power. 15, speed. 13, summoned generals. 1. As soon as the reward arrived, Zhou Ning quickly stood up and dressed up for Zhenjiang. With a loud bang, he received a slap on the cheek. Zhenjiang sobbed and said, those who are rude should be rewarded. Zhou Ning touched the scorching cheek behind her palm and didn't argue with her. He looked up and shouted, where is Huang Zhong? Zhenjiang thought Zhou Ning had been knocked unconscious by herself, but as Zhou Ning's voice fell, suddenly appeared in Zhen Mi's room a man with thick eyebrows, a bronze face, bright and lively eyes, an 8-foot physique, dressed in battle armor, holding a large knife, waist tied with a precious bow, white hair, silver beards, and at least a man in his 40s. Beside him was a fiery and red-spirited steed called Liao Yuan Fire. Zhenjiang thought she was dizzy and thought to herself, how did this person appear in the room? Did he just keep looking at the two of us? As soon as Huang Zhong saw Zhou Ning, he quickly put down his big knife and knelt down on one knee to find the Shuyuan website www.zhaoshuyuan.com, then arched his hand and said, Nanyang Huang Hansheng, see you, Lord. General. Huang Zhong, power. 99, speed. 93, knife technique. Panlong Bagua knife. Zhou Ning helped him up and said, Hansheng, please get up. You should wait outside with your horse first. I will take orders. Huang Zhong said. He immediately led his horse out of the room. Zhou Ning looked at the shocked Jiang Zhen and said, Madam, I promise you that as soon as today we will. I will call someone to meet the lady. Don't underestimate my subordinates. Although he looks older than Zilong, he is not as young as Zilong. But if he breaks into battle, it will be brave and resolute. Moreover, his archery is superb. He can shoot every shot. One arrow can kill the enemy, and even the top experts are hard to defend. It is said that there were 3 major regrets in the Eastern Han Dynasty. Zhao Yun did not fight against Lu Bu, Huang Zhong did not shoot against Lu Bu, and he did not fight against a Xiao Qiao. Zhenjiang blushed and said, put on your clothes before we talk. Zhou Ning was busy putting on clothes for herself, and just now she only focused on helping the young lady put them on, without even caring about herself. Zhenjiang saw him dressed neatly and suddenly said, can you still summon people like this? Zhou Ningdao said, it's definitely possible, but it's very difficult. The conditions are quite strict. Just like when I summoned Zilong, it was because I kissed Miss Wu for 5 seconds, and summoned Huang Zhong. It needed me and Miss Yu. Just like that. Zhenjiang blushed and said, don't say anything about it. The matter of the ceremony will be dealt with within a month. Zhou Ning bowed and said, listen to madam. Zhenjiang said, pooh. Zhen Mi ran into the room and said, why are there more people and horses in my room? Why don't you wait for me to perform magic tricks? Chapter 7. Zhen Support. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. Zhenjiang saw the younger sister come in and instinctively checked her clothes. After seeing nothing wrong, she stood up and said, I'm going to check on the business. Come to Wu Mei's place for dinner tonight. Zhen Mi saw that when the elder sister left, her legs couldn't fit together. Although she was puzzled, she looked at Zhou Ning and said, why did you become an old man this time? What will you become next time? Several lists popped up in Zhou Ning's mind. Tian Wei, Su Chu, Tai Shi Ci, Gan Ning. Zhen Mi said, I'm asking you. Zhou Ning smiled and said, who knows? It's not urgent. I need to seize the time to develop and make myself as strong as them. No, I'm even stronger than them. He went out to see Huang Zhong and was overjoyed to learn that he was 40 and 20 years old this year. For Huang Zhong's evaluation, some people think that if he is young, he can surpass Lu Bu. Some people think that it is precisely because of his old and spicy style that his swordsmanship is perfect, without flaws, and he was able to balance Guangong's big sword in old age. But what Zhou Ning is interested in is Huang Zhong's shooting ability. You can say that his physical strength and experience are related to his age, and he cannot say that his accuracy and strength are related to his age. The older you get, the more accurate you shoot. The stronger the arrow, the more powerful it is. If anyone dares to say this brain science, go inside. Zhou Ning said, Hansheng, this is Zhao Zilong from Changshan. From now on, protecting me and the Zhen family will be my task for you. In your spare time, you also need to teach me archery. I will take orders. Huang Zhong said. Zhou Ningdao said, Zilong, now Hansheng is here. Go and get me a long spear that weighs a few pounds. Don't mix it with such heavy materials, otherwise I won't be able to dance. If you need money, ask Miss to ask for it, just say it's my intention. Zhao Yundao said, I will take orders. He immediately left and went to make a gun for Zhou Ning. Xinjiang has indeed arrived this evening and is going to have dinner with Zhen Mi and Zhou Ning. During the banquet, without saying a word, Zhou Ning said, Miss, please eat more. Xinjiang said, what kind of person did you treat me to when Zhao Zilong asked me for money to buy a gun? Zhou Ning said, be a lady. Puff. Cough cough. Zhen Mi's rice sprayed out and kept coughing. Xinjiang blushed and said, what nonsense. Zhou Ningdao said, there are a few things I need you to do. Xinjiang said, what are you doing? Zhou Ningdao said, the first thing is, of course, to give me back my freedom. Otherwise, Miss Zhen of the Zhen family, I will marry a servant in the mansion. I don't want to be ashamed, will you? Xinjiang said, I have burned your servant deed and reported it to my mother. From now on, you are no longer a servant of our Zhen family, but a disciple. Zhou Ningdao said, did Jiang Er go to work on this in the afternoon? As expected, she is efficient. The second thing is naturally to recruit troops and buy horses. In today's world, money should not be left in your hands, because it can become someone else's at any time. Food is the most important thing. How much food is in our family? Zhen Mi asked curiously, Jiang Er. Xinjiang blushed and said, don't call me that. Don't you know what our family does? Zhou Ningdao said, I'm not sure. Xinjiang said, in the Eastern Han Dynasty, there were 5 families with the largest business scale, namely the Mi family in Shuzhou, the Lu family in Jiangdong, the Ma family in Jingzhou, the Qin family in Sichuan, and our Zhen family in Hebei. However, all 5 of our families were just wealthy and had food. Zhou Ning smiled and said, did I marry a wealthy woman? Xinjiang said angrily, pooh. Zhen Mi said, sister, what's wrong with you guys? Are you going to marry him? Xinjiang said, it was him who invaded our family. Zhou Ningdao said, since that's the case, I need the full support of the Zhen family. Can your family do it? Xinjiang hesitated. If her husband wanted Zhen's full support, it was not up to her to decide alone. After all, the matter was of great importance. This type of venture capital investment is prone to big things. If Zhou Ning was born with 4 generations and 3 nobles, it would be possible for the entire Zhen family to make up their minds to follow him. Zhen Mi said, I will support you. I believe you can protect our Zhen family. Zhen Jiangxi said, if 5th sister is willing to support you, then there won't be much problem with mother's side. Mother is the one who spoils 5th sister the most. Zhou Ning said, well, you 5 sisters have to marry me, and you are not allowed to share the dowry with others. What? Xinjiang immediately jumped up. Zhou Ning said, I want to marry all your sisters, so that I can get your family's full support. Xinjiang's eyes were dangerous and he said, are you serious? Zhou Ningdao said, how about this? If I can only be a governor of Zhongshan, I will only marry you. But if I am a governor of Jizhou, I will marry 2, and the second one must be Miss Wu Zhenmi. If the other ladies refuse to marry me, can they also marry my subordinates? Zilong and so on are all good, and there will be other candidates to choose from in the future. Xinjiang looked at her little sister Zhen Mi. How could she not understand that this cheap husband was thinking about her little sister? Zhen Mi smiled and said, "The fortune teller said I am priceless. If you are not successful, I will not marry you." Zhou Ning smiled and said, "That's natural. Besides, you're still young, and my older brother-in-law has been watching you grow up. Yuan Shao, with the support of the Zhen family, can become the master of the 4 provinces of Ji, Qing, Yu, and the United States. Why can't he do it himself? I dare not brag now, who will have more generals in the future. You will come up with one, I will come up with one, you can choose." Zhen Mi said, "Big sister, please take a seat. It's okay for me to agree. If my brother-in-law is really great, then our marriage alliance will be the same. She was destined to marry a noble family from birth, it's just a matter of who to marry." Zhenjiang said, "It's something from Longwangshu." She sat down to eat in anger. Not a sister would accept her husband marrying her, but miss her sister. Zhou Ning didn't avoid suspicion and approached Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com to hug her waist, saying, "Would you like Miss Wu to marry outside? If his husband is honest, it's okay. What if he comes with me to make things difficult? Besides, let's talk about it in a few years. It's too early now, isn't it?" Zhenjiang clapped his hand and said, "Sit back." The next day, Zhou Ning and the others, led by Zhenjiang and Zhen Mi, met their mother Zhang Shi early in the morning. Zhang is also from Changshan. After learning that Zhao Yun is the first hero of Changshan County, he looked at him with great satisfaction. I saw Zhou Ning's imposing demeanor again, completely different from the doctrinaire I had seen a few years ago. At Zhenjiang's plea, she agreed to the marriage of Zhou Ning and her eldest daughter. And the dowry that Zhen gave to Zhenjiang was first given to Zhou Ning's slave guests 3,000 yuan, and she also promised gold, silver, and currency to assist military funds. In the following month, Zhou Ning arranged for Zhao Yun and Huang Zhong to take turns leading the young men of the Zhen family to sweep Zhongshan County. However, things went unexpectedly smoothly because when the former governor Zhang Chun rebelled, the consequences spread to the fish in the pond, and the people had already complained. Nowadays, the prospective son-in-law of the Zhen family has emerged, claiming to be the governor of Zhongshan and even claiming to protect the environment and the people. He wants to select young and strong soldiers to form an army, claiming to protect everyone and naturally gaining the support of the people. For those bandits and bullies who roamed the countryside, the 2 tiger generals showed no mercy and were executed on the street after being convicted. In just 1 month, the reputation of Zhao Yun and Huang Zhong has spread throughout Zhongshan County. On Zhou Ning's side, after completing daily tasks at home, he diligently practiced marksmanship and archery, waited quietly for marriage, unaware that his army had quietly surpassed 10,000, and that they were all young men from Zhongshan County. In early March, Zhou Ning and Zhenjiang got married and moved into a new mansion. 12,000 soldiers stationed in Lunu County, Zhongshan County. Chapter 8. Jiehu Yuan Shu's wife. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, this morning, Zhou Ning was dancing a gun in her own courtyard again. Shoo. The sound of breaking through the air sounded, and the wooden target several inches thick was smashed into pieces with one shot from him. Lord, your 100 birds phoenix-facing spear has become a thing of the past, but its strength and precision are still lacking. Zhao Yun said. Zhou Ningdao said, although I can now dance a gun weighing 17 pounds, compared to you, I am still far behind. Zhao Yundao said, Lord, the day before yesterday you asked me to go alone to inquire about the news. I heard that the anti-Dong alliance has been disbanded. Zhou Ningdao said, okay, if we want to expand, we need to first compete with Yuan Shao for Jizhou. This is one of the wealthiest provinces, with fertile land, abundant resources, and a large population. If we get it, we can provide sufficient troops and food. Zhao Yundao said, Your Majesty is wise. At this moment, Zhenjiang came behind Zhou Ning and draped him with a cloak, saying, Husband, what are we talking about? Zhou Ning patted her hand and said, it's nothing, the anti-Dong alliance has dispersed. Now, the world is just starting to become lively, and we need to start competing for territory. As a husband, we need to first seize Jizhou. Zhenjiang worried and said, is your husband confident? Zhou Ningdao said, after Madame got married, she really changed her appearance and became more and more gentle. If we were to seize Jizhou, we still have no absolute certainty, but it is not difficult to maintain Zhongshan County. He asked himself that although there were no military strategists to offer advice, there were now 2 top generals standing by, as if using tactics such as separation and bribery, which were completely useless to himself. And he wouldn't be like Liu Bei, pretending to be clever and easily going to the late-night camp. Although Yuan Shao had a great reputation, he was really not afraid of him before he annexed Jizhou. Zilong, how is the construction of the city wall going? Zhou Ning said. Lord Hui, the city wall was already about 3 zhang high and 2 zhang thick at the beginning, but now it has been increased by several feet, making it easy to defend but difficult to attack. Zhao Yun said. Zhou Ningdao said, that's great. However, my lord, there are many refugees today. Some want to borrow away, while others want to make a living in the county. The old general and I have followed orders and controlled everyone. Zhao Yun said. Zhou Ning said, let's go take a look. He said to Zhenjiang, stay at home and do whatever you want. But during this special period, don't leave Zhongshan County. Business outside can be stopped for now. Zhenjiang said, I understand. Zhou Ning immediately took Zhao Yun to inspect the city wall and saw Huang Zhong who had been guarding it all along. Hansheng. Zhou Ning said. Huang Zhong turned back at the sound and arched his hand, saying, Lord. Zhou Ning said, is there any abnormality? We must not be careless lately. The lords must each return to their respective territories. Huang Zhongdao said, Master, you have no worries. With my long sword in my hand and a carved bow under my saddle, I will bring 1,000, and 1,000 will die. Zhou Ningdao said, Hansheng is magnificent, Zilong. Where are those people who want to enter the city and borrow away? Zhao Yundao said, Master, look over here. Zhou Ning walked towards what he had pointed out, and looking down from the city, he saw no less than 300 people crowded together. He looked around, but was attracted by a woman and said, tell them that even young and strong people can stay and live. But Zhongshan County does not allow any borrowing. Zilong, go and bring that woman to the city. Zhao Yun followed Zhou Ning's expectations and soon discovered the beautiful and dusty young girl in the crowd. He walked down the city to deal with it, and soon all the young men were left behind, and those who wanted to pass by were driven away. Just as the beauty was about to leave, she was invited to the city by Zhao Yun. Zhou Ning saw her being brought up by Zhao Yun and asked, Miss, are you going to borrow a passage through this county? The beauty put down her package and bowed, saying, I want to take refuge in Yangzhou and borrow a way to the treasure realm. Since the prefect refuses, I will leave now. Zhou Ning said, where's your family? Going to Yangzhou alone. The beauty of this woman in front of him was something he had never seen before. If he hadn't been certain that she wasn't Jiao Chan, Zhou Ning would have suspected that he was haunted. The beautiful woman whispered, Lord Hui, the father of the young woman is a colonel of the Sili region. Due to Dong Zhuo's relocation to Chang'an, all the carriages of the entire Sili region were taken away. The father is too quiet to prepare a carriage for the young woman to drive away, so he brought some furniture and went alone to Jiangnan to avoid danger. Zhou Ningdao said, that lady may have gone in the wrong direction. This is the territory of Jizhou, and it's almost as close to the territory of Yuzhou. But there's nothing good about Yangzhou either. There will be a big demon there in the future, a guy named Yuan Shu. You have to be careful. Feng Fangnu was taken aback for a moment, and she was left and right again. However, she had heard of Yuan Shu's name and it was said that his family had 4 generations and 3 nobles, and he was still one of the marquises of Dong in this expedition. Thank you for reminding me that the young woman has not been able to distinguish between left and right since childhood, which makes adults laugh, said Feng Fangnu. Ding. Daily hidden task trigger. Feng Fangnu, wife of Shu Hu Yuan Shu, reward. 1 random attribute. Zhou Ning was excited in his heart. He hadn't triggered any hidden missions for a whole month and thought he couldn't summon famous generals from now on. Can emotions be triggered? Depends on mood. Zhou Ning was well aware of the virtue of hiding tasks and said, Zilong, walk to escort Miss Feng, go. Zhao Yundao said, I will take orders. Miss Feng, please. Feng Fangnu said, General, please come first. Zhou Ning watched as a man and a woman left the city, patiently refusing to keep them until they were more than a mile away from the city and were about to lose sight. Ding. Daily hidden task upgrade. Take Feng Fangnu as your side wife and send a message to notify Yuan Shu. Reward. Can summon a number of famous generals +1. Zhou Ning slammed the city wall hard and said, I'm not afraid of a guy who developed in Huainan and Yangzhou. He immediately ran down the city wall, jumped onto his mount, called out Yi Zhaoyu, and 1 person and 2 horses chased towards the direction where Zhao Yun and the other left. General, just deliver it here, said Feng Fangnu. Zhao Yundao said, My lord didn't say how far it will take, so I will keep sending Miss to Yangzhou. Feng Fangnu said, Is that adult also one of the marquises who are fighting against Dong? Zhao Yundao said, Yun doesn't know, it's difficult to answer. The 2 of them walked less than half a mile, and Zhao Yun stopped. Feng Fangnu also breathed a sigh of relief, finally not feeling stared at anymore. Drive. Miss Feng. Drive. Zhou Ning shouted on horseback. Feng Fangnu turned around at the sound and saw Zhou Ning charging towards her on horseback. The unowned white horse on the side was even faster, frightening her to hide behind Zhao Yun. Oh! Zhou Ning dismounted from his horse. Zhao Yun arched his hand and said, I will report. Zilong, drive your horse back to the city first. Zhou Ning said. Zhao Yundao said, I will take orders. After he got on his mount, he galloped away. Feng Fangnu nervously said, I don't know why the adults are calling the little girl. Zhou Ning reached out and said, Miss Feng, don't leave. Stay and be my side wife. Give me your hand. Feng Fangnu felt uneasy in her heart, but she didn't dare to refuse at all. She had to reach out and was pulled onto the horse by Zhou Ning. Sir. Said Feng Fangnu. Zhou Ningdao said, wherever you take refuge, it's just here. Let's go, I'll take you back to the mansion. You still need to write a letter to Yuan Shu. After the 2 of them rode their horses back to the city, Huang Zhong followed and protected them, while Zhao Yun led the army to defend the city. Zhou Fu. You have a beautiful idea. Just a few days after we got married, you just wanted to marry your side wife again. Believe it or not. I'll cut off your military pay, said Jinjiang. She looked at Feng Fangnu and said, Indeed, it's the beauty of the country. No wonder this heartless person can't walk on the road. Feng Fangnu had an innocent expression on her face. She was just a floating duckweed in a chaotic world and had no intention of clinging to the powerful. Zhou Ning said, Hansheng, take Miss Feng to the bedroom in the west and let me talk to Madam. Huang Zhongdao said, I will take orders. Miss Feng, please come here. General, please lead the way. Feng Fangnu replied. Soon there were only 2 people left in the room, and Zhou Ning said, Things are not what Madam thinks. Although she is beautiful, I am eager to marry her as my side wife, it's for our sake. Zhenjiang sobbed and said, You have no conscience, you have an intention when you see the color. Zhou Ningdao said, Madam, being a husband is not someone who spoils a concubine and destroys his wife. Besides, they are all for summoning subordinates. You must believe in being a husband. Zhenjiang said, This is what you said. If you dare to have a new love, ignore me. I will definitely let my fifth sister marry off, so as not to be deceived by you. Zhou Ning said, never mind. Besides, you're a legitimate wife. Just don't bully her, that's good. Soon, Zhou Ning handwritten a letter and sent someone to give it to Yuan, informing him of his intention to marry Feng Fangnu. On that day, Zhou mansion hung lanterns and colorful decorations, Zhou Ning greeted Feng Fang's daughter with the gift of a side wife. Ding! The hidden task has been completed today. Reward. Number of summoned generals +1, ding. The soul print system is starting. Binding host. Zhou Ning, power. 35, speed. 28, summoned generals. 1. Chapter 9. Preface to the Battle of Jizhou. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. Feng Fangnu looked at Zhou Ning, who was in a hurry to perform Zhou Gong's ceremony that night, and said she would get married, but she was also scared and nervous. But Zhou Ning's attitude is tough. She is now helpless and has no other choice but to accept it. Fortunately, Zhou Ning still has a kind heart and cherishes Jade, not biting like fierce birds and beasts. Half an hour later. Madam, thank you for your hard work. I will live a good life here in the future and protect you for my husband. Zhou Ning said. I understand now, said Feng Fangnu. Madam, please go to bed first. I'll be back later. Zhou Ning said. He got up and left the new house to lie with Zhenjiang. At this moment, Zhenjiang was drinking in the room, while Zhen Mi came specifically to accompany the elder sister upon hearing the news. Sister, my brother-in-law has come to see you. Zhen Mi said. Zhenjiang fainted noticeably and snorted, how could that be? He's currently busy having fun with his new partner, how can he still remember you, sister? Zhou Ning came behind her and hugged her, saying, I guess madam won't be able to sleep soundly tonight. Come and see madam, and also perform a trick on her. Zhenjiang realized that she was being hugged by someone and was startled. She woke up 7 minutes after drinking. After seeing that it was Zhou Ning, she relaxed and said, if you don't want to be the groom, what are you doing with me? Zhou Ning said, come and do a trick for madam. Coincidentally, fifth sister is also here. Do you two want to see a rough man or a person with beautiful beards? Zhen Mi said, can we only look at these two? Zhenjiang said, I don't want to see it. Zhou Ning said, since madam doesn't want to see it, which one does sister Wu want to see? Zhen Mi said, I haven't seen anyone with beautiful beards yet. Zhou Ning said, madam, are you looking? Zhenjiang said, I don't want to talk to you. Zhou Ning shouted, where is Taisher Ci? As he spoke, a man with a length of 7 feet and 7 inches, a beautiful beard, and a double halberd of tiger bile and dragon power inserted behind him, with 2 ape arms, appeared. Beside him was a black horse. Zhenjiang was momentarily stunned when he saw another man appear in the room, and the wine spilled out. Zhen Mi applauded and said, fun, this is fun. Taisher Ci looked at Zhou Ning and knelt down, clasping his fists, saying, Dong Lai Taisher Ci, see you, Lord. General. Taisher Ci, power. 99, speed. 95, arrow technique. Strings without flaws, Zhou Ning smiled and said, Z, please rise up and guard outside the courtyard with your horses. I will take my command, said Taisher Ci. Zhou Ning said, fifth sister, can you sleep with your older sister at night? Zhen Mi said, don't you have my room? Zhou Ning said, yes, there is, but your sister is in a bad mood. Can you accompany her here? Zhen Mi said, okay, is brother-in-law going back? Zhou Ning said, well, I can't say anything tonight. I'll just accompany your sister. I'll order Taisher Ci to stay outside the house. You two can rest assured. Zhen Mi stood up and saluted, saying, "Farewell to my brother. In law." Zhou Ning replied, "Sister, rest earlier, and madam, rest earlier too." After he went out, he first met Huang with Tai Shirtzi, and then let the two of them each keep watch at night. There's no way, the summoned famous general doesn't need to sleep, he feels so secure. The next morning, Zhou Ning took Fangnu to meet Jinjiang. After having dinner together, he went to practice his gun skills. Nowadays, the 100 Birds Chaos Phoenix Spear has become a skill, and what he has trained is naturally the 7 Detective Snake Plate Spear. Jinjiang saw that her husband still came to her place for dinner early in the morning. Although she brought an extra person, she finally didn't forget herself, and the sourness in her heart slightly diminished. Fangnu is helpless, exceptionally sensible, and has a very low posture. Even Jinjiang cannot find faults to make it difficult for her. 10 more ordinary days have passed, and from mid-March onwards, the entire Jizhou has been plunged into war. Just as Han Fugang, the governor of Jizhou, returned to the county seat, he learned that his general Chu Yi had rebelled. He personally led his troops to conquer, but was easily defeated by Chu Yi. At this moment, Zhou Ning led Zhao Yun and Tai Shirci to lead 1,000 people to kill, and Chu Yi was attacked both inside and outside, leading his remaining troops to retreat to the Bohai Sea. Han Fu learned that Zhou Ning had led the Zhongshan prefect and supported over 10,000 soldiers. The general around him was incredibly brave. He felt grateful for Zhou Ning's kindness in rescuing him, recognized this subordinate, gifted him 100 good horses, and rewarded him with 1,000 gold coins. He hoped that he would guard Zhongshan County and be like a horn to horn with him. Zhou Ning naturally thanked him. Now that the emperor doesn't say anything, as long as the governor of Jizhou approves, he will be a legitimate Zhongshan prefect. He reminded Han Fu to be careful of Yuan Shao's collusion with Gongsun Zan. If needed, he would definitely help and then lead his army back to Zhongshan County with his horse. Yuan Shao, the governor of Bohai County, had long resented Han Fu. He first accepted the defeated general Chu Yi and befriended him. Later, from Chu Yi's mouth, he learned that Han Fu had Zhou Ning, the governor of Zhongshan, as his assistant, and Zhou Ning had 2 generals under his command, who were incredibly brave. He was unhappy in his heart. At this moment, Yuan Shao's strategist Feng Ji said to him, "My lord wants to do great things. If we don't occupy a state, we won't be able to stand firm. Now that Jizhou is strong and substantial, Han Fu can only be mediocre. We can secretly invite Gong Xuanzan to lead the army south, and Han Fu will inevitably be afraid when he finds out. At the same time, we will send an eloquent person to tell Han Fu about misfortunes and blessings. Han Fu is forced by sudden events, and we can definitely take this opportunity to occupy his position. As for the governor of Zhongshan, when the lord becomes the governor of Jizhou, his great general will naturally belong to him." Yuan Shao believed it was reasonable and immediately wrote a letter to Gongsun Zan. After receiving the letter, Gongsun Zan indeed led his troops and planned to secretly attack Han Fu under the banner of suppressing Dongzhuo, attempting to echo Yuan Shaoyao and divide Jizhou. Upon hearing the news, Han Fu faced off against Gongsun Zan and suffered a major defeat in Anping, losing over 10,000 soldiers. He felt anxious in his heart and, at the suggestion of his subordinates, quickly notified the governor of Zhongshan, Zhou Ning, to come and help. Upon hearing the news, Zhou Ning left Zhao Yun with 10,000 troops stationed in Zhongshan County to prevent Yuan Shao from stealing his home. He himself led the 2 great marksmen, Taishir Ci and Huang Zhong, as well as 3,000 soldiers and horses, to help Han Fu. But as soon as he arrived, he happened to encounter Yuan Shao's nephew Gao Gan and envoys such as Sun Chen, Guo Tu, and Zhang Jingming, who were urging Han Fu to abdicate and give way to the virtuous. Sun Chen said, "General, Gongsun Zan took advantage of his victory and came south. Now all the counties have responded to Gongsun Zan. General Yuan is also leading his army eastward, and his intentions are unpredictable. We feel that you are in danger from the bottom of our hearts." Upon seeing Zhou Ning's arrival, Han Fu exclaimed with joy, "General Zhou, you have come to calculate. Gongsun Zan invaded our Jizhou and attacked our Anping. Now that I have been defeated, he has led his troops into Hebei. And Yuan Shao from Bohai is also restless, and I am now facing enemies from both sides. General Han, don't panic. If Gongsun Zan dares to invade, I will defend myself. I will lead the army to confront him as soon as possible and force him out of Anping. He is just a governor of Beiping, and it is difficult to achieve success now. However, it is indeed difficult for Yuan Shao to go there. Please hold on and don't fight. After I withdraw from Gongsun Zan's army, I will help the general fight against Yuan Shao." Zhou Ning arched his hand. He is not sure if Yuan Shao is currently with the four pillars of the court, so if his three generals were to go up one by one, it would be a bit excessive. You should know that Yan Liang, Wen Chou, Zhang He, and Gao Lan are not just empty names. They all fight alone and are top-notch. At the same time, when the two great feudal lords were at war, he asked himself if he was confident. The key was the lack of troops, because he could not give up Zhongshan County. Han Fushi said, "General Zhou, are you confident?" Zhou Ning said, "If it comes to troops and horses, go to Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Ning would rather ask himself that he is not as capable as any of them, but adults are not. He would rather issue a military order, with only 10,000 elite soldiers and 500 good horses, and Gongsun Zan will be retreated." Han Fu seemed to be persuaded and thought to himself, if Zhou Ning can face the enemy Gongsun Zan on his behalf, then he may not be unable to. Sun Chen saw Han Fu's resurgence and quickly said, "How absurd is this general's statement? General Han, please estimate for yourself how good you are compared to Yuan Shao in terms of leniency, benevolence, accommodating all kinds of people, and making the people of the world submit." Han Fu sighed and said, "I'm not as good as him." Sun Chen asked again, "In the face of danger, you can win by surprise. Your intelligence and courage far exceed those of ordinary people. How do you compare yourself to Yuan Shao in this regard?" Han Fu sighed again and said, "I'm not as good as him either." "Ha ha ha, Yuan Shao's intelligence and courage far exceed those of ordinary people. Are you telling a joke?" Zhou Ning suddenly burst into laughter. He usually doesn't laugh unless he can't help it. A son who is sick doesn't want to live, and even a crown prince hesitates. Every time he misses the right answer, he is praised for his intelligence and courage, far exceeding that of ordinary people. Sun Chen said, "General, how can such a young man conspire for great things?" Han Fu said, "General Zhou, don't say much, and let me hear from you if you continue." Sun Chen said, "General, if we talk about universal kindness from generation to generation, which benefits all families in the world, how do you compare to Yuan Shao?" Han Fu took a deep breath and replied, "I'm still not as good as him." Zhou Ning thought to himself, Yuan Shao's lobbyist is fine. If Han Fu is really so incompetent, I can't sit idly by. His hand was already on the hilt of the sword. Chapter 10. Punch Open. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. Huang Zhong and Tai Shi saw Zhou Ning wielding his sword, each one poised for action. Sun Chen was still showing off his words, saying, although Bohai is a county, it is actually equivalent to a state. Now, General, you are in a situation where you are not as good as Yuan Shao in 3 aspects, but you have been above Yuan Shao for a long time. Yuan Shao is a contemporary hero and will definitely not be under you. Han Fu said, "Friend, I am currently in a dilemma." Sun Chen said, "The soldiers led by Gongsun Zan are unstoppable in their sharpness. Jizhou is an important city in the world, and if 2 armies join forces to attack, the danger of Jizhou will come immediately." Seeing Han Fu's frown, Sun Chen hit the railway while it was hot. Yuan Shao is the old general, and also an alliance. At present it is better to give up the whole Jizhou to Yuan Shao. Yuan Shao must be very grateful to you, and Gongsun Zan will never compete with you again. In this way, the general has the reputation of giving up talent, and his position is even more stable than Mount Taishan. I hope you don't have any doubts. Guo Tu and others all spoke up, urging Han Fu to surrender. At this time, Han Fu's officials, including Changshi Zhengu, Bi Jiamin Chun, Ji Zhongli Li Li, and Zhu Shu, all advised him, saying, Lord, although our Jizhou is small, there may be 1,000,000 soldiers in armor who can support it for 10 years. Yuan Shao, an outsider, and his army, who are currently in poverty, should look up to us. As long as we cut off their food and forage, we can immediately starve them to death. Why give Jizhou to him? Zhou Ning thought to himself, there are still a few loyal ministers, these people can be of great use. However, Han Fushu had a timid temperament. If it weren't for Zhou Ning, he would have agreed long ago. He looked at Zhou Ning and said, General Zhou. Zhou Ningdao said, how many soldiers and horses do you have in your hands, General? Han Fu said, there used to be 100,000, but they were defeated twice. Now there are still 80,000, including 20,000 cavalry. Zhou Ning thought he heard it wrong, there are 20,000 cavalry. Why not use it then? Keep it as a treasure to lay eggs. He said, since that's the case, why doesn't the general fight? If the general surrenders to Rangzhou, have you ever thought about the fate of these loyal ministers? He pointed to Gung Wu and others. Sun Chen, Guo Tu and others once again spoke up to persuade. Zhu and other loyal officials have once again risked their lives to give direct advice. Han Fu finally made up his mind and said to the officials such as Zhu Shou, I am a former official of the Yuan family, and my talent is not as good as it was originally. Measuring my own virtues and making concessions is something that ancient people valued. Why should you blame me? Zhou Ning said, Taisher Ci, Huang Zhong. The end will come. Taisher Ciha and Huang Zhongqi responded. The lobbyists sent by Yuan Shao will not be left behind. Zhou Ning said. I will take orders. The two immediately drew their halberds and swung their swords, charging towards Sun Chen, Guo Tu, and others. After a few breaths, a group of 9 people including Sun Chen, Guo Tu, Zhang Jingming, and Yuan Shao's nephew Gao Gan were all killed by the two generals. Donating blood everywhere. General Zhou, what are you doing? If the two armies are at war, do not cut off the envoy. Han Fu exclaimed excitedly. He's going to pee in fear, and now he's completely offending Yuan Shao. Zhou Ning said, Han Fu, since you don't want to be this general and the governor of Jizhou, then I, Zhou Ning, will do it. If you want to escape now, you can leave your troops and horses to me. As for your loyal ministers, I will lead them to fight against Yuan Shao and Gongsun Zan. Han Fu said, General Zhou. You. Lord, this is the end of the matter. Why not have a battle? Gung Wu said. Min Chundao said, Lord, General Zhou has agreed to fight against Gongsun Zan on behalf of Lord. As long as Lord refuses to defend, this battle will be won. At this time, Han Fu's commander Chief Zhao Fu and Chenghuan Zhao Fu arrived one after another, and they said to Han Fu, Lord, Yuan Benchu's army had no fighting provisions, and they were scattered. Although Zhang Yang, Yu Fulua, and Chu Yi had surrendered, they may not be willing to use them for their own benefit, and they were not enough to be enemies with our army. We too requested to personally lead troops to resist him. Within 10 days, Yuan's army will surely collapse. Zhou Ningdao said, You're good, that's what the general looks like. The two of them had never met Zhou Ning, but upon hearing his tone, they also knew they were from the main battle faction, and they all clasped their fists. Zhou Ning replied, If there are 2 generals blocking Yuan Shao, then I can rest assured to fight against Gongsun Zan. Han Fu hesitated for a moment, still afraid of war. He expressed his desire to give up his official position and move to the former residence of Zhongchang attendant Zhao Zhong, and then send his son to deliver the seal ribbon to Yuan Shao, thus giving way. Zhou Ning drew his sword and pointed directly at Han Fu, saying, "You coward! Dare to give Yuan Shao a seal, I'll kill you now." Han Fu trembled and simply threw the seal of the governor of Jizhou to Zhou Ning, requesting that Zhou Ning let him go back and leave Jizhou with his family, and seek refuge with Qianlu prefect Zhang Miao. Zhou Ning looked at the seal ribbon in his hand, with a bewildered expression on his face. He was not a good shepherd in Jizhou and insisted on defecting to a prefect. With Han Fu's departure, everyone in the hall fell silent. Zhou Ningdao said, "Ladies and gentlemen, if I were the governor of Jizhou, would you be willing to assist me?" Zhao Fu and Cheng Huan, knowing that they had offended Yuan Shao, took the initiative to express themselves and said, "Zhao Fu and Cheng Huan, pay respects to the Lord." Zhou Ningdao said, "Two generals, please rise up." "Thank you, Lord." The two of them stood up. More than 30 people who had originally planned to give up their jobs hesitated in their hearts. Zhou Ning said, "Zhou Ning, the governor of Zhongshan County, hereby guarantees that everyone's positions remain unchanged. If we have everyone's wholehearted assistance, we can definitely return peace to Jizhou." More than 30 officials knelt down one after another and said, "See you, Lord." Quickly, Zhou Ning learned about all the troops and branches of Han Fu. Zhou Ningdao said, "Which one is Professor Zhu?" A man stepped forward and said, "Lord, I am a judge." Zhou Ningdao said, "From this moment on, find Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com and cut off Yuan Shao's food and salary support in Jizhou. I don't know what your current position is, but I have appointed you as a separate commander to supervise the three armies, cooperate with my generals Huang Zhong, Zhao Fu, and Cheng Huan, lead 10,000-strong crossbowmen and 20,000 infantry troops to garrison Hansheng, and resist Yuan Shao. Listen, as long as you defend, I will not fight against you. I do not accept Yuan Shao's request for peace, nor do I accept Yuan Shao's cession. I want him to leave Jizhou." Huang Zhong, Zhao Fu, and Cheng Huan said, "I will take orders." Zhu Shoudao said, "I take orders." Zhou Ningdao said, "This time we will be going to war in two places, with food, grass, weapons, and civilian goods. I need a chief commander to oversee the logistic supply of the two armies. Who dares to take orders?" Everyone was speechless. This battle was of great importance, and no one dared to take this position for a while. Zhou Ningdao said, "In that case, I have appointed my wife, Zhen Jiang from the Zhen family in Zhongshan, as the overall leader, and Geng Wu, Min Chun, and Li Li as the deputy leaders to assist my wife in taking charge. And I will personally lead 20,000 cavalry and 10,000 infantry to confront the prefect of Beiping, Gong Sun Zan, and drive him out of Anping. Your Majesty is wise. All humanity." Zhou Ningdao said, "If we can fight with one punch, we won't have 100 punches. If we win this battle, we can exchange for at least a year of peace in Jizhou. We can fight as long as they want. Shoo." He drew his sword out of its sheath again and said, "Let's go to war." As everyone left, Zhou Ning instructed Taisher Ci to organize the military battle and personally went back to Zhongshan County to pick up his wife and arrange for Zhao Yun. Zhen Jiang was also startled to learn that she had been arranged by her husband to raise the provisions, equipment, and servants of all the people in Jizhou, but she still nodded and agreed. My husband's opinion is that this battle is crucial, not only to who is the ruler of Jizhou, but also to the life and death of the Zhen family.